But he doesn't say no. So he said, how do we do this? I said, we just did this. We've dealt with the city of Post Falls. We know all the smart codes, unfortunately, like the back of our hand.
Mm-hmm.
We just did this. So you guys say you're unorganized. We're unorganized. We still don't know what we're doing. I tell my team that all the time. I'm like, we're just moving with what people are wanting.
Hi, Mel.
Now you're free.
Hi.
Now I'm free.
Do you go by Coach Mel, or what's the most common
My
term?
clients call me Coach Mel.
Okay.
You can call me whatever you want.
Okay.
When I'm an impact speaker, so I always introduce myself in a business setting, usually as Coach Mel. But you can call me Mel.
How long you been doing that?
Probably about 3 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm speaking at Next Home 365 in a couple of weeks at the Coeur d'Alene Resort.
Mm-hmm.
So
Are they doing
Yeah.
they're doing the
Thrive
big conference?
Thrive was 365. It's a 2-day conference.
Okay.
I'm one of their speakers, so it'll be fun.
Did you know that we're our own brokerage here?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Dave's
that's
our
it.
broker.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Guilty.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's an annoying broker, to be honest. He's very strict.
Dude, it
on
is
contracts.
so. You know what? It's crazy because I've always said we're not our strong point, our strong suit is not being organized. Like we get stuff done, but we're
Why
not
is
just-
that, David?
I don't know.
I know why.
think
I
it's-
know why it is, because almost all of us come from a public safety background. And after years of doing that, you learn to function quite well in massive chaos. And it's hard to get away from that.
Well, you learn what's important. Like the important shit, we get done. And then sometimes it's just like when you're in law enforcement, you're in the middle of writing a report, another calls out, and you're like later, and you're gone, and you go off to something else. You have this ADHD,
Which
constantly.
isn't annoying, but
It
yes.
is. But yeah, it's actually, I'm very contract heavy. And so a lot of people that get to know us from real estate, they see us on either the podcast or reels, and they're like, just a bunch of goofballs. I'm like, man, I actually try to be really tight when it comes to doing contracts because I don't want anybody getting sued, and I want to make sure that our agents are protected and our clients are protected. So it does. I have to be a little bit of a dick, and it sucks because
I appreciate that about you.
I mean,
I make
like all day
complaints.
long looking at contracts, but like you missed a box, which is not a big deal, but still it needs to be done. So then I got to be the bad guy. It's a lot of fun.
But you guys have fun while you work.
We do.
Honestly, we do. Like, I remember back in the day, back in cop world, people would be like, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Because I clearly don't love it all the time. And I feel like I'm working. But now, like, I could honestly say that.
Well, it's funny when people meet us and they're like, so how do you like real estate? And I'm like, I hate real estate. We're the only team here in town that hates real estate. I have no desire to do real estate, but we love the relationships and we like winning too. I think we're really competitive. Eric out there right now is pissed because he didn't have a great June. He's like, I got July. And then he got the crap kicked out of him. Now he's on a rampage. Now he's like, oh yeah.
So I think we don't like sales.
We don't like sales. Sales sucks. I don't
You're in this, you understand this world.
Well, because, and here's the thing. So you do, we're going to get to it. You do coaching and fitness and everything else. How hard is it to sell to somebody when it's your idea?
It's not hard for me to sell.
Really?
I'm a closer.
You know what's funny? So for
that was
me,
confident when you said
it is. Here's the thing that I run into as a salesman is that when somebody goes to buy a house, if I convince them that it's the right house, when things go bad and it doesn't work, they turn around and look at me. So we're so heavy on trying to say, like, what is it that's important in your life? What do you want? Just because you see the pretty outside of this house, is this where you want to be? Is this what you want to do? And I would think that fitness, for a lot of people, you probably, I'll go ahead and disagree with you. I think that you help people realize what they want.
That's probably true.
Okay. Because when they come down to it and you say, hey, do you want a healthy lifestyle? Do you want to live like this? Where do you want to be in 20 years? Do you want to be fit? Do you want to be fat on the couch? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to play with your grandkids? I think from your perspective, you can probably talk people into realizing what is important to them. Right.
Yeah, health is everything. Top tier.
For sure.
Health, wealth, life.
What got you to that realization?
My own health, my own story. I've opened up a new business every 4 years since I was 27. I'm a serial entrepreneur, sold most of them. And my first business, I was so in it that I stopped taking care of myself. I went from a size probably 1 or 3 to a size 15, 43% body fat.
Whoa, how much did you weigh when you were?
The one thing about me, I'm 5'1", so the weight doesn't matter. As a health coach, I only look at people as like statistically, how much is your body fat, how much is your muscle, and nothing else. So it's the body fat percentage. So I'm in the teens now, and I was 43% body
I'm
fat.
trying to
So
picture that because you're tiny.
size 15.
Yeah,
So
okay.
size 1 now. So I started to realize that drinking, I owned espresso stands at the time, drinking coffee all day and then going for a 5-mile run and eating one meal at dinner wasn't serving me. So I did it for myself first. And then, like everything in my life, my hobby turns into a jobby. And next thing you know, I have a business. So that's kind of where it started. Lead by example. I would not hire a health coach that was overweight.
It's like hiring a doctor that's morbidly obese and they're
Yeah.
giving you information on how to eat. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think you're
Oh,
qualified.
man.
And
I've seen
people that
those.
say they feel like an imposter, you feel like an imposter because you aren't walking the walk. So
Right.
I walk the walk, I talk the talk. There's very transparent. So that's kind of where it started. So I had a brick-and-mortar 7 years ago, and it was doing very well. I started out with I had a waiting list for 4 years, 6 people under me, but sold it.
What was that called? And
Metamorphosis Personal Training Studio
where was that?
on Spokane Street.
Oh.
Had 4 businesses on Spokane Street.
Oh, you're like the queen of Spokane Street.
I am.
Oh my god.
I am. My goal is to own everything from the bridge to the freeway.
Oh shit.
Just like Bob Templin,
Heck yeah.
my mentor.
Hey guys, before we get too deep, make sure you hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss any of our latest North Idaho experience content. And if you're thinking about buying, selling, relocating, or just exploring North Idaho, reach out to our team. We're proud to be one of the top-rated real estate teams in North Idaho with the 5-star reviews to back it up. We don't just sell homes, we help people experience North Idaho. Our contact info is in the show notes. Now let's get back to the episode.
So the fitness thing, I loved it and I was making really good money. But I just went to work one day and I told my workout partners, like, I just don't even want to be here. And I didn't know why. And then I told my husband, selling my business. And he's like, that's a radical decision. Well, that's how I am. I said, so I asked one of my employees and I turned it in 30 days, which is pretty common. And I was focused and not finished. And I really, at that time, still didn't know why I didn't want to be there. And then I started running and I'm a marathon coach and just soul searching. And I realized that I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning for 30 years serving people on their time. Their time slot was 5:30, 6:30, 7:30. So then I created MelFit. So online health and fitness app serving thousands of people all over the world. We transform tons of lives and from there have our own app. Podcast I haven't done because of all of my other real estate endeavors, but 2 years ago I started MelFit. I get bored really fast. So the fact that MelFit has been 7 years is unbelievable because 4 years is always the itch for me. I need a new challenge. So MelFit 365, which I'm currently most passionate about, is all encompassing health, wealth, life. I help you build self-confidence and achieve all of your dreams. And the self-confidence comes with the number one thing. What does your body look like?
So let me ask you, so the app is really the big driving factor here, right? Do people have access to you directly through that app?
So I have 14 different nutritional and gut flush programs, but I don't coach them anymore. I have other coaches coach them.
Okay.
So our app, $1 a day keeps the doctor away, $29.99 a month. I'm a personal trainer, nutritionist, chef, food prep coach, food shopping expert, life coach, marathon coach, wealth coach, podcaster. So I've moved on to probably kind of what you guys are into, just really in the entrepreneurial space. My husband and I are real estate investors and real estate developers, property management, rentals. And the last few years, I started getting into the networking thing. It was just me, myself, and me. Nobody was cheering me on. And I started like elevating on this different level with all these people. And I was in $1 million mastermind. I counted the people, counted the fee, and thought I could do this. So I started MelFit 365. I take 7 clients a year, and it's health, wealth, life. So most importantly, I feel like we focus on health, life, spirituality, but I think my niche is I help small businesses scale to 6 figures and eventually to 1 million. So the 40 minutes that they spend with me each week, a lot of it is financial.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
the MelFit 365 is more business oriented.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is
Very
cool.
cool.
I
Yeah.
like it. So it allowed me to not sell my business after 4 years and desert my clients like I'm known to do, just because of me. I just want to, there's so many things I want to do.
It sounds like you guys got a lot going on right now.
We do. And yeah, it allowed me to grow and go to a different level with this. So my the thing that lights me up is real estate, MelFit 365, and then just public speaking. So,
It's interesting as you progress in the entrepreneurial world, you find the things that like light you up, as you said. And that's like, we go through the same thing. I mean, this podcast lights us up because we get to meet people like you. It's building those relationships in the community, which can be beneficial on a business front too, right? For us, I mean, that's no secret.
The networking thing's a lot of fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I
Being
like
able
it.
to meet other people, especially small businesses, like that's been a passion for us. You know, we're working on an app right now too, and we're working with a lot of small businesses to just advertise and trying to create a networking group as well. And you know, the core of it, we told everybody, we're like, you know, this has to be people that we trust. This isn't a business venture in the sense that we're going to make any money off of it. It's really about creating a group of people that we can trust. So when people call us and they say, hey, who do I go to for this? We go, hey, check this out, right? Look at the app. Look at the people that are on there, because these are people that we trust. They've done a good job for us. They've done a good job for clients. So we love the networking thing. I'm so
Yeah.
passionate about it.
I'm super busy, but when you reached out, Seth, I was like, oh yeah, this is my jam.
Cool. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew you were busy when I had to schedule a call through your your Calendly or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah, all right.
When I'm at
I
Eats
can
on
respect
Spokane
that.
Street, my phone rings and my little bussers are bringing my phone over. I was like, oh no, I don't answer that phone unless I'm being paid. They're like, oh.
Good example for the
Yeah.
the young girls there. Heck yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's been
That's
fun.
Did you start Eats on Spokane?
Yes.
Nice.
Mhm.
How's that going?
Amazing.
It's a pretty cool little spot.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
I get excited because I live close to there. You know this. When I drive that strip and I see those businesses booming, it warms my heart. I don't know why, but it does.
Same.
So when I go by Eats on Spokane Street on a weekend and there's live music and it's packed, I'm like, yes,
Thank you.
that is beautiful.
Thank you.
And Post Falls Brewing and all, you know,
Oh,
there's so
Post
many
Falls
good
Brewing is so
businesses on
cool.
that strip right there.
Yeah.
It's like this hidden gem.
Yeah.
And
So we started the first one in 01, and then my husband and I started picking up commercial property. So we've waited a long time for this sleepy town to,
It's coming.
so we're going to light it up. So
And it's like you got Eats on, or the Spokane Street, and then you've got Millworks and everything in between. And I've been trying to tell these guys we need to go pick up some property in that area
You
because
do.
it's going to blow up.
It's downtown. It's the heart. It's
Mhm.
going to be like the next Kendall Yard. So
Mhm.
our mission is to create a platform for small businesses in our community to thrive. And nothing that I do is about money. But as you guys know, because of what you're doing, the money comes.
Yes.
I put people first and the money comes. And when back in the days when I was just white knuckling it and I was so focused on the return, I was broke. So now I'm just like surrender,
Mhm.
and people see that. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's been good. So we're a year in, and we've got Laura Horn. She's a friend of mine. She's doing the Nona building, and it's
Oh,
12,000 square feet
tell
of
me
retail.
about that.
12,000 square feet of retail, 33 condos on the top. I think she's 50,000 square feet. She's got Miss Daisy's brunch place. I think her architect is in there. I think there's a Pilates studio in there. And then Rooted Social House is walking distance from that.
Who's opening that?
The Handy Mart, the gas station people own
No
that.
kidding.
And then when they get done with that, I am in the know on
Yeah,
all
I'm
real-
excited because
all
I
real
have lots of
estate.
questions.
So we have a lot in common. Although I'm not a realtor, I've actually sold a lot of homes just because I'm like in the know.
Mhm.
So people like, do you know this person? And then, yeah, there's a house across from me on the river. And then, of course I take a kickback, but I'm surprised I'm not a realtor, but I'm definitely in the know.
Well,
on
you can only do so much.
yeah.
So tell me more about Rooted.
So Rooted Social House, if you look up the artist rendering, it's beautiful. It's white. I imagine it's like a co-working space, and then, work, live, play, some kind of cafe, have a glass of wine afterwards. So we're really trying to encourage people to come down to Templin's, which was bought by Stancraft, which I don't know if you've
Oh,
heard.
they just purchased it, huh?
Yeah, slips are upwards of $200,000.
Is that Marina 33?
Marina 33.
Okay.
And that's going to be phenomenal because people can park there and then they can walk to the brewery, they can walk to Eats on Spokane Street, they can walk to Rooted, Rogersburg.
$200,000 for a slip.
I heard 298.
If I had the
Don't quote
money,
me
I
on it.
wouldn't do it.
That's
crazy.
especially that far down the river. I know
Yeah,
like
man, that's
11th
rough.
Street Marina in Sanders Beach. They're in the 200s to buy a slip over there.
So there's a little chunk, and what I heard is they're going to sell that chunk, and then they're going to build more and sell that and more.
It'll sell.
Yeah, but we're excited
Wow.
because we want to encourage the fitness part of it. My God, if you can't park your boat at Marina 33 and walk down to even Raji at White House, who's a friend of ours, and Oval Office, like, what in the world are you doing with your life?
Mhm.
Like, if you're going to drink and eat, walk it off. So it's going to be fun. We're excited. It's been a long time coming.
It's finally
That's
hitting
cool.
its stride.
It's been
it
a
feels
long
like.
time
How long
coming.
have you lived here?
My whole life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
Where'd you go to high school?
Kellogg.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a high school dropout. I've been homeless since I was 14. I
Oh.
actually have a book. I finished it as we were building Eats on Spokane Street because I just don't know why. I just love the pressure. Why not finish your book right
Mhm.
before
Mhm.
building one of your empires? So it's finished. So all I need to do is edit it, and it's an autobiography. It's called Molested to Millionaire.
Wow.
And it's really tells the story of how I started out 14 high school dropout homeless to where I am now. So that's my keynote in a couple of weeks. It's called The Long Road, and I have a slideshow and I talk people through because it doesn't feel good when you're sitting in front of somebody and they say, "Oh, I'm a multimillionaire and I've got this and my net worth is this." That doesn't feel good to anyone. So I, of course, show them what I have at the end, but I start at the beginning and I
Mhm.
show them how we picked up this house. A lot of it seller financing, what we paid for it, what we flipped it for, and I bring them through a 28-year journey with my husband and I. So it's a good keynote.
It's not like you did it easy, right? Some people would look at that and they'd be like, "Oh, she had it, whatever. She had it made. It was easy." But the grind and 28 years of doing that. I mean, I look at the house my wife and I are in now, and for the last 20, we've been married 20 years. We have flipped, remodeled 5 homes that we've lived in. 1 burned down, and gotten lucky a few times with the market. But like, I think of all the weekends that I spent not doing fun stuff. My kids were out in the yard playing, and I was doing remodels in our own house. Sacrifice.
I get it.
So when people see, if they see my house
I
now
get
and
it.
they're like, "Oh, bro," I'm like,
I get
I
it.
fucking earned it.
If
And
you-
it sounds like you did too.
If you disappear for a year, I just got off 30 days ago. I've got my MelFit coaching business. My husband has a concrete business, very successful. We have Eats on Spokane Street. We have I&M Property Management. I just got off 30 days ago, a year of 80-hour work weeks.
Damn.
Wow.
Sacrificed a little bit of my health, got real skinny. My hair fell out. I
It-
feel like I almost died.
It takes a lot.
Literally. One day I was walking out because in my kitchen, I would stand at the prep table and I would watch every item that was coming out. We work until it meets the standard. Nothing else goes out. Nothing goes out of the kitchen unless it meets the standard. I've probably spent a year teaching and mentoring everybody on my team what our standards, morals, and values are about. And if you're not about community, the people, and our mission, you can't work here. So
That's amazing.
yeah, I
That's
remember
awesome.
one day I was walking out and it reminded me of a marathon runner with the legs because I'm a really horrible health coach this last year because I wasn't taking care of me. And my manager said, "What is going on? You need to eat." And I'm just like, grabbed a piece of chicken, got in my car. But that's when I really felt like that was the rock bottom. And
Mhm.
then from then on, I have a green smoothie, a MelFit green smoothie. From then on out, I'm like, team, if you see me standing in this spot, which I've been in for a year, please make me a green smoothie. Please make me eat. Please just try to give me the nutrition that I need. But if we wouldn't have sacrificed this last year, we wouldn't have what we have.
Mhm.
That's what people need to realize. You want it, but are you willing to work 80 hours a week your whole life like us?
Not many are.
And now I'm on the other side of it, and CEOs build teams and leaders that don't need them. I tried this last summer and I did not have the right team. Those people are not with me. I thought they were running things for me, but once I really rolled my sleeves up, they weren't. So I have an amazing team now. So now I had a meeting with them and I said, okay, first of all, thank you for this last 30 days. I've been focusing my health, see me walking in the neighborhood, trying to really get back to Coach Mel. And I told them the hardest part for me is I have to trust them. If I want to build all the other empires that I do on Spokane Street, I have to trust these people. And I asked each and every one of them, "What do you need from me now?" I want big fires. Don't bother me with small things. Big fires, things only I as the CEO can do. Every single one of them. I have 5 managers, team leads. They all said nothing. And the old me would have been like, "Oh, they don't need me." And the new me is just like, "I did it. I
Sweet.
fucking did it." And it's just amazing. One girl, I said, what do you think when you problem solve here?" She goes, "All I think about is what would you do? What is the Mel method?" And then that's my answer. What does this need to look like? What does this need to taste like? How do I need to treat this client? So it's been a long, that's what I was telling you on the walk. You're going to hear about it. It's been a long road. Lots of people didn't make the cut. But the team that I have now, I'm, for the first time in my life as a business owner, literally just trusting, surrendering, mentoring, having weekly meetings, monthly meetings, and doing it the way I should have done it a long time ago.
How do you determine what businesses? Sounds like, how many businesses do you guys have?
So we have MelFit, we have Iggy's Concrete, we have Eats on Spokane Street, which is also, we have the food truck rental. So we have a bar and a restaurant inside, organic coffee bar, organic smoothie bar, full liquor bar. My husband and I were on the list for 13 years. So that's
Cool.
like a piece of real estate. And then the restaurant is MelFit Healthy Kitchen.
Nice.
And then we have room for 7 food trucks all around. And then our real estate and Devers I&M Property Management. So.
I hold on. I gotta stay on the food truck court for a minute.
Go for it.
I'm embarrassed to say I've never eaten inside. I always end up eating out of the food trucks. Tell me about the food inside. You said everything's organic and
Yeah, so anything with my name on it, it's anti-inflammatory meal plan, gluten-free, dairy-free, no processed sugar. We use organic oil, olive oil. We don't skimp on anything.
like what do you fry food in? Also,
We don't. You don't have
There's
a
no fried
fryer.
food? Okay.
No, we don't use a fryer.
Okay.
So yeah, everything's lean. And then we have a grab and go case. So every week I'll put stuff in there. We used to have a food prepping business where we dropped at your door breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, dessert.
Oh wow.
And now I kind of baited those people because we didn't have time to serve them anymore. Now we just put that stuff in the grab and go. So
Cool.
yeah.
Nice.
What's the vision for the future of the Eats on Spokane Street?
The vision for the future is just to continue to build community there and have it be the community hub where people are meeting other people. They're doing business there. We've had people meet, like relationships have been built there. Personally, as a CEO, just taking 14-year-olds to I have a 19-year-old kid running my kitchen.
Wow.
Better than the 2 people that I fired.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I had a meeting with them and I was like, I just want you guys to know the kitchen is the heart. I had to tell the front of house people, I am not dismissing what you guys do. I'm not dismissing that you're working hard, but the kitchen is the hardest job here. We make everything from scratch, all our sauces, all our meats. So whenever you have any extra time, you walk back and you ask if you can help my kitchen. But yeah, my kitchen's being run. I mean, you should come for breakfast, like lox, avocado toast, like
What?
MelFit protein bowl. Like you will just be blown away that this food is being prepared by children. And I've always thought about like McDonald's, the most successful franchise in the world. It's being run by teenagers. Well, that's what I've been trying to do is get into that mindset that I can mentor these kids to be successful.
Right. You're building future entrepreneurs.
There's a
Yeah.
benefit too of having younger kids because they're moldable. They don't have all the bad, you know.
I agree.
Yeah, they don't have all the bad, you know, what am I trying to say? Habits. There we go.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the same thing. So it's kind of cool if you can find somebody and you can get them locked into what you want. They're a lot more receptive to being able to do it. You just have to find somebody that has the motivation.
Yeah. I joke around a little bit behind their backs. There, had a couple people and I was like, I just, if you can't wash dishes for me now, if you can't take the trash out for me now, you will not be successful in your own life.
Right.
Because you have to have an apartment and you have to clean it. Like I'm teaching you life skills here and you're acting like I'm picking on you because you have to wash the dishes or take out the trash. So yeah, we weed out those people really fast. We're really, really tight knit family there. I think we have 30 employees.
Wow.
Yeah. And everybody knows. All they have to do is come up to me and just say, I just don't think this person is bought into the mission. And we don't allow any gossip. We're just really supportive. We just work as a team. So I feel like Eats on Spokane Street is in a year really getting there. We had a rough winter.
I noticed that.
Man.
That's why, but it's hard to start something like that in the winter because a lot of it is outdoor. I mean, so that's when I said I got excited is probably springtime, summer when I see it packed. I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna make it. They're gonna be fine. What you talked about building your empire on Spokane Street. Can you talk about what other ideas you have?
I can and I will because there's two types of people in the world. There's people that think if I don't tell anybody, I don't know what they think. Maybe they won't copy me. I don't know. I'm a manifester. I can already see it. It's already here. We were working on Eats on Spokane Street for 5 years and I just kept pushing on it. And I tell everyone, it drives my husband crazy. And I said, that's the accountability I need. I need both of you guys the next time you see me to ask me how my new project's going. So it's been a year and I can do two things at once. I think I can have two thoughts at once, but I know I can't. And my husband can't. And we've really had to come together over the years. And I've had to accept the way that he works, and he's had to accept the way that I work. A lot of self-limiting beliefs on his part, none on my part. And we've really come together where I love building with my husband. We literally had not one fight at East on Spokane Street.
That's
And I'll
impressive.
tell you why. Self-funded $1 million build.
Wow.
So we're in the building, and there was some kind of a discussion that could have led to an argument. And I said, Iggy, look around. Look at us right now. Not in a bragging way. We look like bitches sitting here arguing about a building that we're building for our community with $1 million cash earned, not borrowed. How much concrete? How many coffees? How many catering outs? How many people did I have to train to earn that? Or maybe capital gains from a house. Like that's a lot of earned money. I didn't go borrow it from a bank. From then on out, never won. Not one fight. We've, built houses together. We built a couple houses on the Spokane River and we've remodeled rentals, but that's kind of what it always
It's a good perspective.
comes down to. It's like we get to do this. We want to do this and we have the means to do this. And ultimately, we're doing this for everyone. I think I told you before the cameras came on. When I win, freaking everyone wins.
Mhm.
My community wins. 30 employees win. Like, they all love working there. So a year passed, and I just kind of did some soul searching and had my meeting with my team. And I thought, wow, I'm sitting in a position now where I have time to do something else, because right now things are going well. So I'm not just going to sit here and waste this time, because I've never had time.
Mhm.
And so I started just in the last couple weeks working on another project. So we own property on Spokane and 3rd. I opened up a coffee stand there I don't know, in 2001.
Is that? Oh, that's there right now.
It's there.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's yours too.
Yeah. So Nikki Denke, she's great. She knows we're moving on. And we told her a couple years ago. And we will offer her to be inside, but it's called Casitas Del Rio. We already have the artist renderings. We move quick.
What?
We've literally come up with this and pitched it to Iggy. You got to meet my husband, my COO, and I. We pitched it to him, and if you have to, it has to be solid, because he will poke holes in your plan. You have to seal all the holes. So him and I worked together. I'm like, okay, this is what I envision. It's a 21,000 square foot building, mixed use is what you have to have on Spokane Street. There's no setback, which is great. So you get off the freeway and you just go down that street, and there's boom, boom, all these beautiful buildings. 6 condos on the top. So kind of lock and leave, people that want to just come and enjoy the area and not worry about maintenance. And then 6 retail units on the bottom. So
Get out of here.
yeah, so if Nikki wants to be there, she can do coffee, not a drive-through.
So that'll be right where that coffee. So
What's it
right
called?
across from.
Casitas Del Rio.
That's across the street
Little
from Sawmill, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
little river houses.
Okay.
Cool.
So
When's that start?
now,
Let's go. I love it.
so this is how we work. My COO Josh, Iggy, myself, we're sitting there, and he doesn't say no, because usually I'm just like trying to give him all these ideas. He doesn't say no. So he said, how do we do this? I said, we just did this. We've dealt with the city of Post Falls. We know all the smart codes, unfortunately, like the back of our hand. We just did this. So you guys say you're unorganized. We're unorganized. We still don't know what we're doing. I tell my team that all the time. I'm like, we're just moving with what people are wanting. So we put the 3 cards out on the table 2 weeks ago. My COO picks up his card. He is the project manager. We know what Iggy's card is. He's the builder. He's the general contractor. My card is I am the visionary, design. I get the money, and I rent the spaces because I'm a landlord, and design. So we all know our role. And I think that's where I fell short years ago. Is it's not the how, it's the who. I want to do this, but this is my skill set. So I just kind of stay in my little lane, and then we just build the A team. So already had a meeting with the city. They love it. And so I was telling you guys earlier about I'm in my masculine a lot. I feel like I have to be, because I am a female entrepreneur and real estate developer. And when I sit next to my husband, who do you think they look at?
You look at him, right?
And a problem is like, excuse me? Like, I've had to be really loud and be a loud mouth, because I'm not respected as a female entrepreneur. And at this point, our meeting at the city of Post Falls, I told my COO that was sitting next to me, our project was squashed because of parking. So I went to the mayor of Post Falls. I should be the mayor. I've had 4 businesses on that street. I know what a business needs to survive. And it's not a median in the middle of the road that prevents people from turning into a drive-through coffee stand. So I went to the mayor and I said, this has been the sleepiest freaking town for 20, 30 years. And you guys have this money called urban development, which you're making all of our taxpayers pay. Where is the growth? Why is there no businesses on the street? Why is it so slow? And I said, this is the vision. Eats on Spokane Street. This is our mission. And then they put me in touch with Bob Seal, right away. Bob Seal is on my side. Love your project. Love your vision. I'm not getting any help from the city of Post Falls. I am really frustrated with them. And now all of a sudden Bob's in the room and it's like E.F. Hutton, like right at this table.
What does Bob do?
He's a civil, I think, what do I want
Like
to
a
say?
civil engineer?
Community development, I believe.
Okay,
is his
for the
title,
city of Post
for the
Falls.
city of Post Falls.
Okay.
So he basically really helped open up their eyes to the fact that we are going to do what we say we're going to do. And this isn't the end of it. This is just one of many. So we were just at the city of Post Falls last week, and it was so different for me as a female entrepreneur because we sat down. Bob was right across from us, and he said, "Saw your name on the bracket, Mel, and I wanted to be here." And of course,
Cool.
again, have my back because he knows that we're going to do it. And my COO and I walked out, and I was like, you know what? I said, that was so different, Josh. And he's like, yeah, it was. It's like all of a sudden, like we have respect. Like it was green light, green light, green light, green light. We thought we needed 2 parking spaces and it was 1.5. So we got more space, and there's a vacant lot on the edge. And so we don't need the buffer is shorter. So all these things that we struggled to piece together at Eats on Spokane Street, we have all these green lights. And I guess it goes to show, like everything you guys have done and I've done, you got to freaking earn it, right?
Mhm.
I guess my attitude of, oh, they're picking on me because I'm female, maybe that wasn't it. Maybe it was they just wanted to see that you were going to prove yourself. How many people have sat at that table with an idea of something that they were going to build on Spokane Street that never did it? So I'm trying to kind of change my mindset a little bit. It's just my little chip on my shoulder that I have about it. But I really think that ultimately we just needed to prove to them that we were going to build it.
I'm glad you brought that up. I wrote right here, City of Post Falls, because I wanted to ask you what it's been like to work with them, because we have another friend who opened Frontline CrossFit, Tim Henry, and he went through hell with the City of Post Falls, and that pisses me off because we've had Randy Westland on here, the mayor, and his vision is for Post Falls to like especially Spokane Street. He has a good vision.
Well,
for
he
that.
wants to develop downtown too.
Yes.
That's one of his big things.
So like, okay, if you want, and I know he's fighting red tape too, but if you want to develop it, make it easy for small business owners. And Tim went through some shit with that, and a lot of it was related to parking. And then was it? It's not like impact fees.
They didn't have. Yeah, his impact fee was based off of a different classification. I think it was a warehouse. He said there was no like small business impact fee. There was like warehouse or retail. And he was like right in between, but there's other ones. There was another gym right down the road that was operating under the retail space, I guess, which was way cheaper.
No, they were operating on the warehouse space.
Under the warehouse
He wanted
space.
to be under, yeah.
And they made him go under the retail space, or however it works. And his was so much more expensive. And he's like, they're doing the exact same thing down here. And they're like, well, you can't. And so it's frustrating because a lot of the common sense goes out the window when you start getting into politics. You start getting into cities and everything else. A lot of things are done just because that's the way they're done. They don't have an explanation for it.
North Idaho Arms is a proud sponsor of this podcast. North Idaho Arms is a locally owned full-service gun store in Post Falls, Idaho, founded under one guiding principle. They are unapologetically pro 2A. The owner, BZ, is a friend of ours and is a 2A rights absolutist. North Idaho Arms throws a flaming middle finger to all unconstitutional gun laws. Handguns, rifles, suppressors, magazines, ammo, complicated moves, estate transaction, BZ does it all. And yes, you can purchase some of these items if you're a Washington resident. Go see BZ at North Idaho Arms, Post Falls, Idaho.
And the Post Falls Brewery was the first one. And I mean, you've been over there. Like, they have no parking spaces. So everything, they had an answer to everything. Of course, it was, oh, well, the smart code has been changed. The smart code, I'd like to blow up down there. Nothing makes sense. My entrance is in the back of the building. Everybody knows the ugliest part of a restaurant is the back. Luckily, we have the Taj Mahal.
What's the smart code?
The smart code is how everything needs to look and your setbacks and how many parking spaces on Spokane Street. And if you drive down Spokane Street, it's so narrow as it is. But the improvement that they made a long time ago were medians in the middle, which made it more narrow. people can't see to turn, so the vegetation on it's too high, and they can't get to you.
Mm.
And people are so funny. They're luckily the city of Post Falls. If any of you are listening to this, I give you credit for this. So across the street, there's 40 parking spaces that they put in.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll see how people are. You guys know how people are with their physical fitness. They want to park or as close as
Too far.
yeah. So here's this beautiful parking lot, but they all want to be right, close. But yeah, I really would love to be the voice for the city of Post Falls as a business owner since 2001 that's doing something on this street. I'd like to be the voice of things that don't make sense. Back-end parking does not make sense. And at this last meeting, they actually told me that they did change the back-end parking. They lowered, so the turnaround, so if we got red line on our plans, the turnaround was 3 weeks. Well, when you're building something, you want to get it open so you can start making money. And they actually lowered it to 2 weeks. So I did feel like there were some good changes. And the other thing, they lowered some of their fees. So maybe they're listening but I get it. But I did the same thing as your friend did, where I was like, but wait, the building right next to me didn't have to have this.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, they didn't. Like,
it'll be interesting to see what happens with property values down there, because a lot of people ask what the difference is between why Coeur d'Alene's so expensive. I said, well, Coeur d'Alene kind of built out. We don't really have any real estate yet or left. So you saw downtown was, I don't want to say decrepit, but there was a lot of older homes downtown when you look back 10 years from now, right? And then once everything started getting bought up, people started reinvesting in the homes that were there. You saw the renovations happening. You saw homes getting torn down and newer homes going in. Post Falls hasn't reached that yet. One, it doesn't have the downtown area to support that, right? Which is step one. You're talking about the small businesses. And then second of all, you can go buy a brand new home out on the prairie. Why waste your money on something and trying to renovate it? So until Post Falls figures out how to slow down the building and also put something downtown that's attractive, close to the water, it's going to be hard, because there's we looked at a home down there and it was like, this is pretty much a teardown.
It was a teardown.
Yeah. And it was, I don't know, I think it was on 3rd Street down there. But anyways, so I think it would be good to revitalize that area, because that's what has brought a lot of people to Coeur d'Alene, right? Is because all of a sudden now you have property values increasing, you have renovations going on. There's a lot of contractors and a lot of people looking for those opportunities. But until Spokane Street, not Spokane. Nobody's building in Spokane. Until that changes downtown in Post Falls, which comes with the businesses, then you don't see that happening with all the residential either.
What are they doing across the street from you? There's a lot of dirt being moved back behind whatever.
The landings.
Yeah.
160 condos.
Oh, any retail back there too, or is it just condos?
I think that's just condos. Yeah, I think that's just condos.
Like condos or apartments, like for sale or rent?
I don't know that.
Okay.
But at the city, they just said 160 condos.
Where's this at?
Right across from
across
us on
the street?
Spokane Street, by the by the water tower.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I met some investors, builders over the winter from Montana, and they showed me their plans. The city said it was hush hush. I'm like, yeah, we're friends already. Their plans were out. They told me about it. So it was kind of like not senior, like assisted living, not assisted living, but like retirement living, huge building. I'm trying to think of the square footage.
It's like an independent living scenario
I think it was 300,000 square
Whoa.
feet.
Over on
like,
that.
Yeah. Like, so the 160 would be here and then they would be here.
Dang.
So
Whoa.
we've been waiting a long time for this.
That's going to bring a lot of foot traffic.
I'm such a manifester. I talked to Iggy about it and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
And
Do you think that higher density stuff is good for the area?
Gosh, yes
It's a
and
tough
no.
question.
Yes and no. I personally, so a lot of people have approached us in the last 5 years about buying things that we own, and we don't want to sell it because we want to develop it ourselves, but B, we don't want to sell it if there's not at least something on the bottom that's for community. So
Right.
I'm kind of more about legacy and what am I going to leave on the street?
And that's not very typical for developers, right? Because the word developer gets everybody pissed off. It gets everybody upset. But then, understandably, you see people come in and they try to figure out, well, how do I just maximize my profit? It's about the money.
Yeah.
I need to put in 140 homes, but no parks, no green spaces, no
Yeah.
anything else like that. Everything's 2-car garage, just tighten everything up. And then they try to sell it by saying, oh, it's going to be affordable housing. It's going to be cheaper than everywhere else. I feel like there's some good developers that have done some good things up here. Whether you like it or not, Greenstone, when I look at a lot of their developments, even through the pandemic, they were so good at just staying regular on how many. They didn't try to keep up or anything else like that. And when you go into one of their developments, Coeur d'Alene Place or Montrose or these north places, you start to see like a theme of open spaces, windy roads, slowing down traffic, schools, parks, stuff like that. And so, but then you see other developers who come up here and they just eat up every single piece they can. So high density,
The
I
lots
think, is
are
something.
so small you can't even fit a freaking 3-car garage on it. That
Right.
drives me nuts.
And high density has a lot of impact. So that's why I asked, because I think there's always got to be areas that cater to high density. There has to be that because they're going to come. But then there's also that, that line where, well, is a little more space, a little more room. And downtown is usually the place you're going to see that high density.
It makes sense there because those lots are an acre or a couple acres. Like, what are you going to put a few houses on that where you can put retail, condos?
But if you don't have the retail and the small business downtown, why are you putting high density there? It doesn't make sense.
So obviously people see the vision for Spokane Street. Have you been down to that new amphitheater down below, like by the dam park?
I actually haven't.
It's beautiful. I just found it the other day. Austin and I were down there shooting a video.
I wished it was more visible because I
you just
kind
can't tell
of
until you get
forget
there,
about it. And there's concerts down there. But yeah, it's inevitable that the apartments are coming. I just didn't want to contribute to selling our land for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to, our focus is, community first and just trying to be a part of, we need something to do. When I had my coffee stand, it was like the Chamber of Commerce. They'd get coffee from me. They'd buy clothes. I had a boutique at the Resort Plaza Shops and in Post Falls. They'd buy clothes from me and they would come back the next day. And this is something that I'll never forget. I would always say, what'd you guys end up doing yesterday? And they always said, went to Coeur d'Alene. So that's like my mission till I die. How do we keep our money here? And I don't blame them. If you're coming here from a different state and you're here on holiday and you rented an Airbnb on the river, like you want to do all the things. So I think that my dying wish is to make sure that there's, the things, and then the condos, of course, it's more of a lock and leave, a beautiful, beautiful condos, maybe some furnished, maybe some long-term rental where someone can be in the heart of Post Falls and just walk to everything. So that's kind of our vision.
Well, it's also, like I said, if there's not things to walk through,
yeah,
you increase traffic demand and everything else, right? The fact that people can get on their bikes downtown Coeur d'Alene and go places and there's stuff to do actually limits the amount of traffic and impact it has. So Post Falls, pretty much most of the places you live, you got to jump in your car and go somewhere. There's not really a walking area.
Agreed. And I think that although there's other places in Post Falls, they've tried to maybe Celtice Way, it's just never gonna fly. Like that is the heart because it's by the water.
Yeah.
It's got the water, right?
Well, Celtice
Camillin Park right there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Celtice is kind of like Appleway though. Right? When you start putting McDonald's and chains and stuff, it's a different vibe than when you put small businesses and character.
Yeah.
It's completely, I love the fact that downtown here, you come down here and you don't really see any chain brands.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too, is it would be nice to have that separation. Keep Celtice because it is what it is now.
Or Highway 41.
Yeah. But, and go ahead and stack that with all your big commercial, your Chipotles and your McDonald's and everything else. But to go downtown to see Sawmill Grill and then McDonald's really kills the vibe.
Yeah.
It kills the vibe.
For sure.
Here's
that would be so weird.
Right.
Here's a little hidden gem, Republic Tap House.
Yeah.
What a freaking cool spot,
Yes.
right?
Very neat.
Love
On the
it.
corner. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's so many great spots. And everybody's always like saying, I hate the word competition. I was like, what competition? Like the
It's
more
good.
people that we can stack up, the more businesses we can stack up on the street, everyone wins.
Yeah.
Like there's enough to do. So yeah, it's fun. It's been a fun project too. We have rental houses on this street. So You know, you've got a rental house where Eats on Spokane Street was bringing in $2,300 a month for the rest of your life. Or you tear it down and you build. And same thing behind, we still call it Leopard Lattes. Behind Leopard Lattes, we have a rental house there. It's like, well, that's only going to bring you this much money for the rest of your life. But what could we build, increase our income, first and foremost, build something for the community, and then increase our income instead of just, and they're ugly. They're old 1900s houses. They're nothing fancy.
Nasty. Yeah.
So the inside of them's nice. We fixed them up, but they're old. So.
Yeah, I could see a lot of all that space between there and Millworks. It's all going to get changed. I was. Have you been to the Range Market over in Millworks?
Yes.
So they found us on YouTube. We've been talking to them for a while.
Oh my gosh.
So we've been up to date on that whole build process. I finally went in there the other day. What a cool spot.
Love.
They're awesome owners too. They're great.
I've been
people.
telling everybody about them.
And then right across the street, they just started building. Whatever they're building by that other, it's not a water tower. It's over by Millworks. It used to hold like sawdust or something. I don't know what it was. They're building a whole thing there.
Yeah, I saw that. Do you know what it is?
I think it's just more of the same with living upstairs and then retail downstairs.
Oh, good.
And then I saw there's a couple warehouses like west of there that I just saw someone's taking them down. And I'm like, something's going in there. So that whole section is going to be an entire walkable community all the way down through Millworks.
Yeah, 5 minutes from our houses.
I know.
So
that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, why would I want to move? I could jump on a side by side, be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, proximity is everything. We have so many people that they walk, and then freedom is everything. So when people come from out of town, they get their drink and they're like, "Can I take this outside?" I'm like, "Welcome to in Idaho, man." Like, there is no open container law in Post Falls.
That's amazing.
Really?
Asked over and over when I got my liquor license and hung it on the wall directly. Should have recorded it. Absolutely. You can walk down this. You can't walk in the street, but you can go from Eats on Spokane Street to Camille Park with your cocktail.
That's huge.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I love it. I love seeing all
And
the
we
kids.
sell them to go.
I love seeing the kids jumping off the bridge, which I know is not legal, but
we all did
whatever.
that.
Everybody does.
Yeah, that's fine.
And that park just gets packed. It's cool. That's like it's got like the recipe for everything.
Yeah.
Right there. That took vision that you saw that so long ago.
Yeah.
Because
So
I've just noticed.
the hardest part was your building is supposed to take up, is it 70 or 80% of your property? I think it's 80. Yeah, it's 80. And your landscaping, the rest, where ours is flip-flopped. I don't know if you've ever been to Eats on Spokane Street. So I fought that little chunk of grass. I fought so hard for it. So
Really?
yeah, so hard.
It's perfect.
When I was like, this is a mother's dream. Come here, have a mocktail, have a cocktail, and your kids aren't going to die in the street. This is a dream, right? So super excited. Tomorrow, Iron Mountain Fitness, if you ever been to Eats on Spokane Street, all of our picnic tables are custom made, steel, that lasts forever. And my friend Luke owns it. And he's such a creative. When he brought them, I said, wow, I thought my standards were high. He didn't ask for permission, but in the middle, he put a chess and a checkers board, underneath a hook for your dog leash, and then our logo on every table in the place.
That's awesome.
He made us these custom steel fire pits. Again, when he delivered them, I was like, of course you put an umbrella holder. Of course you put a ledge on the bottom so that we could actually sit there and eat and put our bevy. Tomorrow, he is bringing, so we have 2. And my husband's like, do you ever notice that if we're sitting at the fire pit and there's like 5 chairs available, that people are like, weird. Like, is someone sitting here? Yeah, you. So we're launching the largest outdoor natural gas fire pit in Idaho.
What?
Maybe in the world. I don't know. But he's building one in between the 2. So I think it's going to be like 25 feet.
Really?
Oh
So it's all connected.
Wow.
It's going to be so badass. We're going to video it. We're going to interview Luke, kind of like, because he's been his stuff is such a huge part of Eats on Spokane Street. And I was thinking I'm going to order patio furniture on Wayfair. Well, let me tell you what, the public is really hard on your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Wayfair would not be the place.
No,
It's not gonna
but
last.
it's going to be so cool because they have to sit together.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some great conversations that have gone on at the fire pit.
Genius.
So it's going to be fun.
That's so cool. What a great deal. And then you get along with the businesses on the other side of the freeway as well?
Yeah.
I know, like, we know Brent Topey from Bunker Bar. He's been on the podcast before. and-
Yeah, I unfortunately, because I disappeared for a year. I haven't been out and about much, but I haven't met him, but I know a lot of people that,
Great guy.
yeah, I
Same
literally,
vision.
I don't get out much, but I'm starting to get out a little bit more now that we're,
Well, he
on the
talks
other side.
about coordinating, like, I don't know if pub crawls is the right word for
Yeah.
it, but that whole
Yeah.
strip, everybody has bars.
yeah,
How fun would that be? You get
Yeah.
a few hundred people out there.
yeah. We've been friends with Raji for years, and man, that guy's he's got some guts. So he just opened up another place in Spokane, so he's my neighbor too.
Oh,
So
cool.
What other businesses are coming to downtown Post Falls that you know of?
the only ones that I know is Laura at the Nona building, Rooted Social House, and Casitas Del Rio. That's it. That's all I've heard about.
Okay.
So, yeah, the city said a lot of people will put in for the permit and pay for it, and it expires, and then they'll re-up it. And then I don't know what happens. Maybe they can't get funding, but a lot of people just don't pull the trigger. But that's it as far as I know. But from having nothing to having even just a handful of businesses down there, it's great.
It's great.
And I personally, for 28 years, my husband and I have a date night on Friday night. That's the day he opens the car door for me.
That's awesome.
And I was telling him the other day, I was like, our life is so different now. And he's like, why? I was like, well, because we would go on a date night and we'd only be gone for like a couple of hours and then we'd be home, go to dinner and maybe have a drink and come home. Now we'll go Friday and Saturday at Eats, 6 to 9, we have live music and we're there for like 4 hours. We're outside.
Oh, cool.
Sunset's beautiful.
Mhm.
Not biased because it's our place, but it's so different. It's really made a difference in our life. We've really enjoyed being there. So now I go there and my team. I'm always looking. And last Friday I was there, and one of my team leads, I came in. I was like, did someone see that table? Did someone see that table? And she told me something, and I'm like, she goes, sit down.
You got told.
And I was like, oh my gosh, Iggy, my team just told me to sit down.
Yeah, nobody wants you to come in there and let them do their
Relax.
thing.
And I'm just like, I got to pinch myself. But they saw me. They would go to work and then they'd have a break and I'd still be there. I was bell to bell. Kitchen all day, bartend cocktail at night, plus all the other logistics. So I think it was worth it. It was hard. I was telling my kitchen manager, I said, I don't regret this last year because I feel like now you guys know if you guys ever start a business, this is what it takes. This is what it takes. What Iggy and I just proved to you guys. My husband, he does a lot of work for Greenstone Homes, like the neighborhoods you were talking about. It's like been the bread and butter of our business every
For
day.
concrete?
Yeah. And he does personal, residential, but every day he goes to work. I said, where are you going to work? Same answer, Liberty Lake. But yeah, I just told these guys, I'm like, whatever you do in your life. So Iggy would go to work at his business and then Eats on Spokane Street building. Like he was working, God, I don't even know, 14 hours a day to physically build that, pour all the concrete.
Wow.
And even now, well, I've changed a few things, but although it's brand new, there's something to fix every single day there.
Mhm.
So I hired a handyman, and the other day I was sitting there, but anyways, I was telling these guys, you gotta really learn from us. You're young, but learn from us. If we weren't there, we wouldn't be where we're at today. But we were sitting out at our house, and I told Iggy, I said, while you were out making really good money, I hired a handyman, and I'm gonna pay him right now. So $105. I'm Venmoing this guy. So what's your time worth? Because he kind of like, well, I'll do it, right? And I'm like, no. While he's down there, putting together my Adirondack chairs for the community fire pit, we're sitting out here on our dock. So what is that worth to you? So it's kind of for both of us just shifting into just a whole nother level.
That is a very hard lesson.
Yeah.
I have been going through this because we just built our house, and I have always built my own stuff. And I'm realizing that what's my time worth, right? Whatever that number is, there's a formula. You can calculate it on your own and figure out what it is to you. But if I'm paying them less than my time is worth, it's worth me to pay them to do that.
Yes, it is hard,
It's hard
right?
to do.
Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. Yeah,
That's exactly the book I read.
Everybody that works for me
Yeah.
has to listen to the audio or read the book.
Mhm.
That actually was the game changer for me.
Mhm.
Once I started it's just a number. The path is in the math. It's not, get your ego out of the way, like, and nobody there by any means we do not think we are better than anyone. We're the leaders. That's just what we do. But yeah, it's been fun.
I can see why people would think you'd think that when you're balancing out what's my time worth, but that's just the reality of it. 20 years ago, my time was worth a lot less, and I was the guy doing those things, right? You build up to it.
Yeah.
It's a very important thought in business.
Yeah.
If you could give like one piece of advice to a budding entrepreneur, like one of the girls that works for you, what's like the number one thing you would say?
Keep your standards high in every aspect of your life. What do you look like? What do you dress like? What do you speak like? How do you treat people? Number one, if anybody, I know you guys don't know me, but the one thing that Iggy and I have in this community is a good reputation because we treat people well, do what you say you're going to do. And, just high standards, morals, values. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Do you come in, eats on Spokane Street and walk by that piece of trash without being told? Or do you immediately have it in you? I pick up trash at other people's businesses, like if I see it and there's a garbage there. So yeah, I think my mom, get me a little choked up. She passed away when we were building Eats on Spokane Street, but she was like, Jane of all trades. And that's where I got it. Like she was very masculine. She built her own house. I seen her rebuild an engine in a car. Just always back in the day, like read a book. She does upholstery. She's a master upholsterer. She's doing all the classic cars. So that's where I get it. Like if you want to kill me, make me work at the post office for 30 years and I'll die with a cake and a card. But yeah, I just the constant just doing, but I lost my train of thought. I was going to tell you something about my mom.
Well, back to the post office. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But we came from public safety where, we call it the pension trap.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with doing 30 years as a cop. It's noble. It's great. I'm
Yeah.
so glad people do it.
Yeah.
But it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to get out of because
I
the
bet.
pension trap. Like,
Yeah.
I do my 30 years, I
Yeah.
get a pension for the rest of my life, maybe health insurance, whatever.
Yeah.
There's comfort in that.
Yeah.
There's very little comfort in being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur,
Yeah.
but there's no ceiling.
But the thing about it is what you guys said is you guys have the greatest gift that anybody could have. You have the gift of communication and really seeing what is going on in your surroundings, and safety is a big thing to me. So you guys have that, where if you don't have communication skills, it's because I'm coaching entrepreneurs. If you can't, look people in the eye, open up your mouth and tell them who you are, what you do, and how you can help them, then you're not going to get the deal. But yeah, the communication skills that you guys learn and reading people, I mean, that's really huge. Okay, I know what I was going to say. So I'll never forget this. My mother told me, your standards are too high. And I love her. I love her to death. She taught me everything that I implemented in my life. But I just thought to myself, wow, really? Really? You think my standards are so high? And there has been no wavering whatsoever in the last year with the lemon meringue martini that it gets fired, or the old fashioned that gets smoked at the table, or, there's no wavering. There's no, okay, those are your standards and you're going to serve my product. I immediately look at it and I say, that's not how that's supposed to be served. Back, back. So I've been doing this for a year, and that's what I did for the majority of the time, is standing there and looking. So I'm proud to say the standards are there finally, and
That's awesome.
you can feel it. But yeah, I mean, it's a simple one. I don't know if most people can answer that, but I would say that, I just, who's gonna know? No one's gonna know. Yes,
That's the definition of integrity, right?
Yes,
Doing the right thing when
I'm gonna know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna know, and if my name's on it, yeah. So I think it pays off.
Absolutely, clearly it does.
Yeah,
That business is booming.
yeah, it's fun. It's been rough though. There's been so many people come in the door that are like, "Oh my God, we're so glad you're busy. We didn't think you were gonna make it." I'll tell you one quick story. 27 years old. I'm a waitress at Toro Viejo, making $2,500 a month, and it takes a lot of hours to make that, probably lunch and dinner. And Iggy and we had heard about this property, and it was owned by Bob Templin. Do you guys know who Bob Templin is?
From Templins, I know.
Okay.
I don't know him, but
yeah, I just love Bob. God rest him and Mary's soul. They're a huge part of our growth and in real estate. So I remember we were getting the coffee stand ready, and this lady got out of her car. And I say this a lot at my keynotes. And she got out of her car and she walked right up to me and she said, "Do you really think you're going to make it on the street?"
Wow.
And when we open, solid 4 cars on each side, because that's all that could fit, until I sold it. And every day, I actually like the edge. I like it when people doubt me. I like it when people talk shit about me. And I just look over at that little gal on my shoulder every time I open the window. Do you really think you're going to make it? That girl, she did me a favor. And I mean, to this day, if I saw her, I would say, not only am I going to make it, I will die trying to buy and build on every piece of land on the street. So it really helps. It really helps when you have the haters.
Well, it's good to have people that are passionate about those areas.
Yeah.
That's usually what drives it.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
But yeah, the doubters and the haters, like, I want more.
Mm-hmm.
I want more people to doubt me, because that keeps me.
All right, I'll send you a text.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Please do.
That's what I'm good for.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Keeping each other accountable.
You guys are great. The fact that we sat here with like no prepared, like, you knew nothing about me.
That's the best part.
I love this.
It's genuine
This is
curiosity.
Super great.
Yeah. So I mean, thank you for sharing all of this.
Super great. Yeah.
Well,
So the only reason that I share, 3 years ago, I would never tell anybody about my finances. My husband would be mortified.
Mhm.
And I got around a group of entrepreneurs that made me feel like it was okay to talk about dreams. It was okay to talk about money. It was okay to actually reflect back on the fact that we're freaking above average. I actually had to look at the statistics in the United States about, where I am at as a Hispanic female multimillionaire. And the facts state I'm above average. You're above average. But when you talk to, some, I don't know, I guess you'd say average people, you feel like you're a bragger. So
we all, I think we all can say we all grew up the same. We didn't have much money.
Yeah.
You clearly were if you're
Yeah.
homeless, right? And
Yeah.
like, I know Dave was eating Doritos in the shack behind his house.
I'm
Like,
still eating
I know what's up.
Doritos, so
Now you have a lake view and you eat Doritos though. I mean, you've moved up.
nice.
But
got to cut down another tree.
But we were raised, you were probably raised the same way, where like, oh, people with money must be shisty, right? They did bad things to get that money. These are the things I heard growing up, like my parents would say. And it's not true. Look, like, you're doing great things for the community. We do a lot of things for the community. Like, it's okay to make money. You work really hard for it, and we should accept that. That's totally fine.
Yeah, I just told Iggy, I said, I'm rebranding as Coach Mel, primarily health and fitness. Coach Mel is a wealth coach.
Mm-hmm.
I help you take action, and I hold you accountable, because if I can do it, you can do it. And why would somebody hire me if I was poor?
Right. It's like the fat.
So it
doctor.
was very uncomfortable. One video that I posted, and it said, you buy a $210,000 lot, 110 feet of frontage on the Spokane River, and now it's worth $4.7 million. Cringy, right? Guess how many clients I got off that video? Like, I told her, I was like, I know this is very uncomfortable for you because this is your story, but I'm not doing this to say, look at me. I'm doing this to help other people who were me. I'm best suited to help my old self. I want to prove to them that I'm your role model. Like, if you want to know how to do something, ask somebody that's already done it. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I'm not doing it for people to say, give me a pat on the back. You're doing so good. I don't really need that. So, but yeah, but it can be a little bit cringy, but I wouldn't hire a wealth coach for what I charge if they weren't wealthy. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't hire me as a personal trainer if I was overweight. So you got to really lead by example, but it's been fun. It's been fun I didn't know that this was there, but getting into the entrepreneurs, I love this because it's open conversation. And I know that anything that I tell you and your listeners are going to be like vibrating on the same level of, let's just do it. Let's just keep, grinding and just building to the top, and nothing's going to stop any of us.
So good.
I love it.
Coach Mel, thank you.
Thank you.
This
guys.
was a fun conversation.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for all the updates.
Thank
I
you
love
for
learning
coming.
about Post Falls. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. It's fun. It's crazy to think that the thing that's a little bit crazy is the celebrities that are coming into our town. But I'd like to think that our community is what's going to make us famous.
100%.
Let's
Our
hope so.
community is what's going to put us on the map.
Let's
and
hope
all the
so.
things that we're doing is going to put us on the map because I think we're way more interesting.
Well, you'll be at the heart of it.
Yeah, you guys too.
Yeah. Coach Mel, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Later.
much.